Salam Saif. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. For those who are new, my name is Fatima El-Hindi. I was born a teacher and taught math and physics for a while. And for the past 30 years, or even more, I believe, I have been focusing on exploring consciousness from the linguistic perspective of the Quran and also from the quantum physics. And I'm here to share it with you by the request of Saif.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here. We're going to continue learning about Muhammad and his character and just go through the process of his revelation in terms of how he received it, how he portrayed that information to the public. So I'm glad to continue. So I'll
Okay.
let you take the floor.
And thank you for having me with you because, I've been learning about the life of the Prophet, believe it or not, since I was 7. And every time I go back and learn it, it's just like you learn a lot more every time you go through it, okay? And especially when I started to do it from the Quranic perspective, you can just see between the lines, like what you yourself can benefit from. So I think everybody will realize that as they start to open those verses, but in the order he was receiving them. When I finish explaining the importance of the few verses of Revelation and how they shape Muhammad and help him as well, how to give the message, then hopefully we can together also start to do the Quran from the order of the book, which I have been doing, as you know, with my
Right. Yeah.
adult classes as well as the young adult. And now you are mainly with the adult classes. So let me share with you, Saif, the next chapter in Revelation is Al-Muzammil. It's chapter number 3. It's chapter, I believe, number 73 in the order of the book. But in order of Revelation, it's number 3. And it starts calling him, yeah, Ayyuhal Muzammil. And this is like really, really important to focus on it. What I mean by focusing on what does it mean, Al-Muzammil? The word Al-Muzammil the root word Al-Muzammil in the Arabic language is made from those 3 letters, Zamal. So if you go, as I taught you in classes, if you take this root word and you go to the dictionary Maqayis, you'll find that those 3 sounds, they make the meaning of Hamala in Arabic. Hamala is to carry, That's why Al-Muzammil I translated as the bearer. I'm taking it directly from. But what's fascinating to see here is he's already called the carrier or the bearer. Like basically as if like there is no doubt about him saying yes to this revelation, yes to this message, and I'm going to carry it. So he's already called you the bearer, like you are doing it in a way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it says, قم الليل إلا قليلا, stand up at night. I mean, قم is, when we talk about قم, we don't mean literally to stand up as you stay standing, but is why I translated stand up versus get up. It's not like you get up to do something, but here it's you stand up for something. So when you wake up at night, you wake up and you know you have a mission. Let's say if you have an exam next day, safe, what do you do? When you wake up at night, first thing that comes to your mind, I need to finish preparing that chapter in case we get it in the test. So
Right.
is you wake up and to stand up for something, to do something. So he was told, stand up, okay, at night, except a little. So basically, you sleep a little, and most of your night, you stand up for something, which is, we know here, it's his mission. That's from the character he was given here. And it says half of it or reduce from it a little. So it will depend on the the work he has to do. He has to get up half of it, sometimes more than a half, sometimes less than a half. And now it says, "Arzid alay." And sometimes you have to add more, increase upon it. But what's the purpose of getting up at night? It's here, and that's why I put it in red, and theme the Quran thematically. So you're going to be receiving this Quran, and you're going to have to theme it thematically. What do we mean, theme it? So if you look at the Quran and you open it, you're going to find in chapter 2 or in chapter 4, chapter 7, whatever, you're going to find a bit of the story. And let's pick one of them, would be the story of Moses. So you're going to find a bit in this chapter, a bit in this chapter, this in this chapter. Then you're going to have to look at them all together. So, whatever is told for Muhammad to do, anyone who reads this surah, who has a mission, who has a purpose, he's going to do the same thing. So, if, let's say, myself, if I want to study the story of creation, and I think that fascinated me all my life, and I love the quantum physics because it just helped me to understand the story of creation, which is my story. As a human, I call the story of creation is my story. So I'm just saying this verse helped me. I cannot learn the story of creation but just taking chapter 2 and say, oh, look, the Quran, it says in this chapter this thing. You cannot do that. You need to take every verse in the Quran that brings the story of creation, put them all together, okay?
Yeah,
So
and
you
be
can
able to form a
understand it.
complete story. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah,
if someone comes to me and usually they say, oh, how can you say this or that? And they just bring to you one ayah out of the blue, you just tell them, you need to put it all together before you say
yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So these are very important teaching about anything you want to do as a researcher, as a worker, whatever. And now it tells him, and this is very important to know in verse 5, it says, Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan taqila. So what does it mean? Indeed, we will cause you to receive a heavy saying. This is a heavy saying. This is information that you never heard before.
Right,
Okay. So it's going to be, if I am going to tell you something you never heard before, you may like, what? And it may take you time to process it.
correct.
And
Yeah,
now it's going to come back to tell you the importance of the night. It says the beginning of the night is more intense in introduction, okay? وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. So if you want to learn something new, usually during the day, you're too busy. We're working, we're dealing with others, relationships, trade in markets or whatever. We're completely busy until, you know, the when everything is quiet. Okay? That's where it's good to introduce something to him. In fact, that it's told in the Quran in chapter, I believe, Al-Isra, meditation is best at night, whether the beginning of the night or the end of the night. And
that's
usually,
actually that's something confirmed by early ancient Stoics. I was reading about Seneca. He said that his favorite time to go back on his meditation and think about his day was
uh-huh.
at night when everything's calm and he doesn't have to deal with the day-to-day minutia. So
Yeah, so you see, like even in the scriptures, and that's what I told you from the beginning of the series that we wanted to do. I just see quantum physics is barely now coming and talking about what we've known in the Quran forever. Like,
right.
is to me is like fascinating. So I go back and share with you here. So it says it's very intense. It's good to introduce something. And then it tells you also what we just said. Look, it's number 7. It says, Inna laka fi nahari sabhan tawila. So in the day, there is there is a lots of motion. Really, the word sabhan, I call it motion or vibration of movement because that's the root word of sabaha. It's like either you can call it vibration or motion or movement. So we move during the day, we are busy, and that's why the night is the best time to quiet your mind and meditate, whether the end of the day or the beginning of the day or both. I do both, honestly, because I always wanted to get information about the interpretation of the Quran. And I found that the best time for me is usually when I get up at 4 a.m. Sometimes I get up even at 3:30 a.m. and I start to receive downloads or after, before I go to bed. Ayah number 8, chapter, the verse number 8, it says, وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. And remember the name of your Rabb. And I think we explained what Rabb means, is the nurturing, creator, source, and distinguish to it distinguishingly. So what we mean about this is basically when we get a lots of noise and we move a lot during the day, you're receiving a lots of information from all the noise. And sometimes if you're an empath like myself, you pick up also the energies of those that you meet in the market or wherever you go, you pick up all those energies. But if you get back at night and you meditate and you remember your source, you remember your higher self, you remember God, then as if like it helps you to let go of all that noise, okay? And in number 9, it says Rabbul Mashriqi wal Maghribi. So now your Rabb is the nurturer, the source of everything. And when I say Al Mashriq wal Maghrib here, some people they call it East and West. But in reality, the deep root meaning of it is sharq is whatever appears. Okay, like when we say shuruq shams, we mean the appearance of the sun. And al-maghrib is whatever goes away, disappear. La ilaha illa hu, there is only one God but it. So it doesn't matter what culture you come from, what ethnic background you come from, whether you are a human or you are a tree or you are a galaxy, we are all under one source energy, one source creator. فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا, only take it as a trustee. That's the only God that exists. So we don't have many gods, just one. And it ends with number 10. So 10 verses where in the order of revelation, the third package of verses revealed to Muhammad. It ends with beautiful verse that I put in red because he's told from the beginning of it, you're gonna be the carrier or the bearer of these heavy downloads, heavy information you're gonna receive. So then he was told, be patient upon what they say. Anyone who comes up with something new, they're gonna attack him. And then it says, وَهْجُرْهُمْ هَجْرًا جَمِيلًا. So withdraw from them, a beautiful withdrawal. Or, hijrah, they usually say it's a migration. So when you migrate, you go from one country to another. So basically here, he's not going to migrate from one place to another, but he was told to withdraw from them, withdraw from the noise, withdraw from whatever they're going to say.
So it seems, okay, so the Quran is giving us a remedy for dealing with, I guess, hatred and negative influence is withdrawal.
Exactly. And from the beginning, he was guided to that remedy. And remember, we tend to, I say, copy paste of the ancestors, even if it's wrong. We tend to copy paste hate. We tend to copy paste like I'm right, you're wrong. We tend to copy paste I'm good, you're not. Okay, if I am, if whatever we grew up with, and we're not familiar with the other, we look at the other as wrong. So this is how human behavior has been for so long. And normally for now, normally with the internet, it should be a global awakening of we are all one. We are humans. We
Yeah.
should not fight each other. It's very scary to see wars at this time of the internet. Normally, at this time, we should open. We are human and we should
Mm.
use the resources of the earth to share and to help and to love each other instead of spreading. But you see, the Quran is telling Muhammad from the beginning, not only Muhammad, and this is one thing I always want to repeat to my students or listeners. The Quran is not talking to Muhammad as much the Quran is talking to everyone who's listening to it. Okay?
Right.
He was the first one to hear it. But we all can hear the same message if you just open up and listen.
Hmm.
Mhm. So
Okay.
these are the main 10 verses of this third chapter. And there's so many lessons. There's the lesson of if you have a purpose, if you have a mission, you need to spend time at night on it. And there is like, okay, if you want to understand the scripture, you need to theme, you know, anything you want. You need to collect all the verses about it. And
Hmm.
I noticed, for example, when I was a student in the Islamic University when I was young, we were told like, oh, this verse means this verse means this. But honestly, it was most of them taken from weak and authentic hadith. And then with time, you learn like, but why the same word is explained differently in every surah, in every chapter? Each word is explained differently, like which I did with you guys, and I have it on my website, the word salah. We were told it's prayer, but in every chapter they explain it differently.
Hmm.
So then you need to dig. Why is this? But when you start to theme it and to go back to the root word, you'll find it's a miracle Quran. There is no way it was put by a human, by the way. I mean, I know in person the top scholars in the language, very top scholars, and they tell you there is no way a human can do that. Just
Hmm.
can't be.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say when it came to you describing how certain words are explained differently, like Arabic is such a rich language. You know what I mean? There's so many words that can be used to describe certain things. He wouldn't use the same word to describe two different things. It doesn't make sense. It's not coherent. So
Yeah.
yeah, and we can talk throughout the series, about the authenticity of hadith and how that all plays into like the common
Yeah.
understanding of the religion. But
Yeah.
this was good. I took away a few lessons throughout this
Thank
surah for
you.
sure.
Thank you. What I wanted to, don't get me wrong, I'm not the type who attacks hadith. I learn from hadith a lot and I studied hadith and I love the like lots of hadith. They just stayed in my mind since I was a child, but some don't make sense. So I
Yeah.
am not for the type like don't accept hadith. I'm the type like I accept what I feel is authentic and the scholars agreed upon it is authentic. But also, even if some scholars agreed is authentic, they maybe they did their effort, but we are discovering and we are still studying. The Quran is number one source of authenticity, and they all agree upon it. Every
Right.
group of any Muslim faith, any group in the Muslim faith, they know there is only one copy of the Quran. There is
Hmm.
only one. Now, this we all agree upon. When it comes to Hadith, which is the sayings of the Prophet, there's so many books of Hadith which we studied when I was at the university, but some are authentic, some are not. So anything that contradicts Quran, I can't take it. And
Yeah.
anything that doesn't make sense, I can't take it because I doubt if Muhammad would say something that is not logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you'll start to eliminate, use the process of elimination. So we'll
Hmm.
come to it like you said in this series or in another one. We'll see where time can take us.
Hmm.
Okay, until then, I hope I leave you in good health and I'll see you next time. Safe.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming to join me, and I'm excited to talk again. It's going to be
Okay.
fun.
Okay, we'll get you chapter number 4 in order for Revelation next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.